This clip's brought to you by ServiceNow. AI is only as powerful as the platform it's built on. With the ServiceNow AI platform, your AI, data, and workflows all work together, connecting every corner of your business. To see how you can put AI to work for people, visit servicenow.com/AI-agents. Welcome back to Serve. Mike,
We're back.
Are we allowed to go again?
Yeah, we're back.
Okay, good.
We checked all the boxes and paid the water bill.
Great. Fantastic. We just got through my list up until 2012-ish. All right. It's up to you, Banks.
Yeah.
Get us home.
Yeah, 2012 forehands. Obviously, we spoke at length about Rafa. He's going to be in there. We don't really have to dig into that. Roger is also going to be in there. Yeah. But I do want to talk about that as well, because that 2017 year, we saw a different type of Roger after he had to sit out for injury. Mm-hmm. I think 2016 with the back. Sat out for about 6 months. He came back in 2017. I think he went on an absolute tear that entire year. But it felt like he became more aggressive. Mm-hmm. Everyone talked about the backhand, but I think his forehand was even bigger. I think he was injecting more pace. He was doing everything he did in 2005 and 2008.
He just wasn't playing defense.
Yeah, he was just committed to just playing way more aggressive, and it worked. So he made some adjustments, but those two are still up there.
Side note, just real quick, while we're on that year, when we interviewed Rafa, he goes, for me, that was the best version of Roger that I had ever seen.
I said I didn't play him, but I'm watching on TV, and then I go back and watch 05, and I'm like, dude, 17 Roger beat this. He's better than 05 Roger. Like from the quality of ball, his ability to manage balls on the backhand, he was so aggressive. I felt like in 2005, he did a lot of it. It's just the speed was slower. It was slower. He didn't have to defend as much.
I would have liked. I'll just tell you this, because I think, as far as like matchups go, like the way he was playing Rafa, and Rafa even said that.
Yeah, it suited.
The way because it's all matchups.
Yeah, true.
All I would have wanted playing Roger was for him to take massive cuts on every ball.
Really?
100%. I did not want him chipping. I didn't want to have to create for my shoe tops. I didn't want to. So I think matchups matter.
Okay.
All I would have wanted is for him, and my serve's different than Rafa's, right?
That's
like
true.
He has time.
It's very true.
I would have wanted him swinging that backhand as hard as he could on every second serve. What I didn't want was for him to make 90% of his chips.
Okay. Fair.
So I do think matchups matter. I think the way that he was playing then definitely was the best matchup for Rafa at that time. But I think I'm curious to see what James would think. I'm guessing he would have wanted Roger to play out of his shoes also.
Fair.
Right. So I would have wanted him to actually miss. Right. I did not want to have to create, because I think in 05 he was the best offensive and defensive player simultaneously in the world. Mm-hmm. I think in 2017, I think he'd lost half a step. I thought, the field had gained on weight of shot, right? Everyone was hitting it bigger. So I think he had to play higher risk tennis. All I would have wanted was for him to take more risk when we played against each other.
Fair.
Yeah. All right. Who else we got?
Okay. Go ahead and talk about the big two with Carlos and Jannik. Yeah. Obviously, I'm throwing those two in there. Carlos, to me, has the forehand of Roger, just with more spin, more firepower. He doesn't cut the angle off as much, but they're so similar. He can get that ball to lift up and go high line if he stretches you off the court on the do side. He can also just step in and just run around, dictate play out of the ad side and make it kind of tail off inside out. He can pick it up inside in. He has all of the variety on the forehand, and we talked a lot about Roger. Just slide Carlos in there, just add a few MPHs and a few RPMs. I think it's kind of the big thing.
I think that's the most similar comp.
Yeah.
Just based on footwork and everything we've seen. One thing I will maybe give Roger the tip of the cap is forehand return, the ball, you should just melt into his racket. Like you couldn't rush him to his forehand return. Carlos is maybe a little bit bigger on that forehand return side. So maybe if you get like a Zverev injecting 140, Roger can still firm that up. Pace didn't affect him.
Yeah.
So if we're like splitting hairs, maybe, Carlos is the newest version and it's bigger. I think Roger probably had more control of the racket face and impact on like defending a massive serve.
Yeah.
But Carlos is an all-timer, and it's not the same in my mind, but the comparison is similar. He's completely changed the game with his drop shot.
Yeah.
We've seen it forever. We know that it's there. It used to be an irresponsible shot. And now it's this thing where we've talked about how all of the greats make you pick your poison, whether it's Rafa's forehand line versus cross. Roger, you have to defend and commit to a certain spot, and you can look dumb sometimes. Carlos, okay, imagine you don't hit one perfectly, and he has 2 feet under him, right? So you have to defend simultaneously. He can hit it over 100 miles an hour both ways. So you got to defend 10 feet to your right and 10 feet to your left. You got to scoop back and able to do that. And then at the last second, he can just brush the racket underneath the ball, and then you have to defend the 25 feet in front of you as well. All within a quarter of a second. Has completely changed everything with his ability to hit that shot on the run. Like, he'll be scooting left and play it like inside out. Like, you can't account for all of those options at one time. So if he executes, he will beat you.
Yeah. Yeah, I was talking to Jameer Jenkins about this last night, about the drop shot in particular. And he says, you know, he talks to people still about tennis, although he's not in it anymore. And he was saying how people will ask him, you know, why do guys, they can't get the drop shot? Like, how is Carlos' drop shot so effective? And he goes, imagine you got Mike Tyson right in front of you and you're prepared to be punched in the face. Like, you're sitting there, you're bracing, you're tensing up, ready for that haymaker. Yeah. And then he just pokes you in the side and kind of tickles you. That's what the drop shot is. Like, if you're braced, you're so prepared for this blow.
I'll take it even further.
What?
It's the Tyson comparison is perfect, except he kicks you in the nuts. Like, it's like, you're ready for this, then he just goes poof, and you're like, oh. Like, that's what it is. It's like, you have to account for all of the options. That's what people miss about a lot of these things. Why can't you just get the drop shot?
Because I'm thinking about this or that or this or that.
You have to account for all the pain points in a half a second. That's it.
Yeah.
And 10 feet, 100 miles an hour, all directions. You have to back up 4 or 6 feet just to account for most of the options, and then he can slide the racket underneath at the last second. You can't see it.
Yeah.
It's the same preparation.
The preparation is so strong.
Like, it used to look different. Like, you could tell people would, you know, if Chris or I were hitting a forehand drop shot,
you could kind of see it last second.
You would know it.
Yeah.
A second before, you would know it way before you would know with Carlos.
Yeah.
Like, even if we were trying to hide it, it's just that racket work is very different. I think he's kind of changed everything. And now you see Jannik
starting to use it.
He uses it when he's pulled to his forehand. He hits a cross-court drop shot all the time. And he's using it against Carlos. I'm like, this is what rivalries are. This is why it's great. Because like, these guys are just copycatting each other.
Yeah. And then that was a great segue into Jannik and Jannik's forehand. It's funny how you gave honorable mention to Novak, and obviously how his forehand kind of progressed later in his career. I think his forehand is incredible.
Yeah.
Sinner has that. Like, he doesn't have the variety of the Roger. He doesn't have.
I don't know if
he doesn't have the one, like, in particular forehand, like the inside out of Courier. He doesn't have like the one. He just hits all of them. 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 shot quality, and so. It's like just jab after jab after jab after jab. And it's like, in a way, a little...
It's almost like body blows, though.
It was kind of... I was thinking like Rafa. Rafa's different because he has a spin that gets out of your strike zone. But in terms of the margin, he's not hitting it that close to the line. He can dig... When he finds one, he can keep you on the run and just kind of keep you off balance with it. But there's nothing about it that is, let me slow it up.
You're like 12%.
It's just boom, boom, cross, line.
He's an
doesn't
algorithm.
matter. Yep.
But also, talk about this, because if I'm seeing Jannik Sinner and I'm playing against him and I don't know who he is, right? But I see the technique and I see that lag. And by lag, I mean like that layoff, right? He creates so much speed because that wrist goes back and he's able to like time it through. If I see that when I'm playing, I'm going, okay.
I'm going to rush it?
Correct.
I'm going to rush it.
I can get to that side with that lag because there's no one that can time it up perfectly off of pace.
Yep.
Except for Jannik Sinner.
Yep.
The ability for him to have that lag and you still not be able to rush him to that side, I think that's the superpower on his forehand side.
Yeah.
And that's why you're 12% behind on every ball, is his ability to time up. And so we talk about ball striking. He's in that conversation with best ball strikers because of the lag he's able to create. Forehand and backhand, by the way. Like, those wrists break on the backhand and then he just like, he sends them through, right? It's not like Andre where it's a little stiffer and you're using the entire body. It's like, it's his like loosey-goosey wrist and all, but it doesn't affect his timing.
Yeah.
He's like taking that risk to create the shot profile, but he times it up even if you attack it with pace.
Yeah, it's you can't
I wouldn't be able to square that away mentally. That would fuck me up. Who else you got?
Well, I mentioned him last time. Should have just kind of held on to it, but I think Thiem. I think Thiem's forehand was, especially during his prime, that 2018.
Yeah.
We kind of saw him kind of ascend on the scene really quickly. But that 2018 to maybe right after COVID, he won obviously the U.S. Open in 2020. But his forehand was a joke, man. And also, he was one of the guys who could generate a lot of pace who wasn't that tall, but from really far behind the baseline. Like, Thiem won its time. To talk about the thing with Sinner, Sinner has that lag. Sinner has just a bigger backswing.
Thiem had a big backswing.
He had a massive backswing, but to counter that and needing more time, he just gave himself a little bit more time behind the baseline.
Could he get away with that? He couldn't get away with like a grass or like something super greasy, right?
No. I don't think. I'm sure he finds ways to adjust, maybe shortening up the backswing, but I just felt like I remember seeing that Indian Wells final when Thiem beat Roger, and it felt like he was ripping him off. Indian Wells was a phenomenal court for him. But it just felt like his forehand and his backhand, but his forehand in particular, he wanted to find as many forehands as he could, and he could generate pace and produce winners from any area. It didn't matter if he was in the alley on the ad side or he was hitting a running forehand on the deuce. If he wanted to give it gas, there was not much you could do. And he had so much margin. He was swinging out of his shoes, but there was margin there. It wasn't just straight.
That was a Luxon generation, by the way.
That was a Luxon generation.
And he's one of the guys, like a lot of times with tennis players, like I hit with Francis yesterday, and he takes off his jacket and goes sleeveless. I'm like, this guy's an animal. He's bigger than I thought he was.
Huge, dude.
He's a fucking animal. Like, monster. Thiem's one of those guys, he plays so big that,
you think he's like 6'4".
Correct.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Like, I wasn't on tour with Thiem. He came like 2 years after and was like good right afterwards. But I didn't see him. I was away from tennis. I wasn't involved. And then when you meet him, you're like, dude, you create that amount of power out of that body. Like, he's smaller than you think when you see him in person. Yeah, I mean, the guy could bump the ball.